validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Today's the day, the big day. I gave you guys my word. We were going to be talking about precious metals. I did me a lot of digging. And bruh, I tell you what, I managed to put together a very, very decent quantity of information for you guys so that we can go ahead and crush this precious metals topic today. Kind of gauging it between precious metals and crypto, but we're primarily going to be talking about precious metals today. So I was sitting here thinking partially that I should talk about diamonds and stuff to that effect, but I was like, because diamonds, it's a mineral, if I remember correctly, not so much a metal. So now that I think about it, I should probably be talking about investing in other minerals. So that'll probably what we're what we're going to talk about week after next, because next week we're supposed to be talking about brokers and brokerages and investing in them or connecting with them as a financial option. So make sure that you guys remember that we're kicking it off about half hour late. CP time. It happens. Happy St. Patrick's Day while we still got time to St. Patrick's Day. Got my green fit going. Bars. But nevertheless, we have a very good show for you guys today. We are live 7 nights a week. We tee this bad boy off around about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is about 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock California time, 4 a.m. Greenwich time, and 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time. But every night of the week, around about the same time of night, we are live doing something different about something different, whether we're business and finances, investments, social improvement, personal improvement, first person accountability, relationship advice, and other such, in addition to our members only shows that's open to the public on Sundays that allows us to do questions and comments from the fans, which could potentially lead to another show that we're going to be talking about very important topics that people want to know. Knowledge-based podcast. We are a open-minded, open mic, open forum podcast where we definitely cover this, that, and everything in between. Everything from education to firearms. We cover everything from religion to psychology. We cover everything on this show. So it does, we're STEM topics and everything, whatever we got to do to pass the knowledge around, that's what we do. So if you've never been here before, I appreciate you coming. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Note that you can click that link you see in the comment section, approve the mic, approve the camera, and bring yourself onto the show in real time. Also, note that we are live. We do got some fans that are under the age of 18, so bring yourself appropriately, whether you're in the comment section or you're in the live feed, bring yourself appropriately. I greatly appreciate that. Special shout out to Twitch and or Twitter. Both of you guys are rocking it hard. Omni81, Red Void, Liberty Twitcher, Max Deposer, Lucas Deposer, Joe, Reese Martinez, Joseph Hernandez, Carl Barton. I think I'm saying that right. Nico, Michelle, April, Vivian, and Victoria B. Special shout out to Victoria B, Usman, Rev. I really appreciate all of y'all. We got a laundry list of really awesome fans that are coming through on a regular basis. Special shout out to some of the countries around the world that's been watching us on a regular basis. All of y'all, I'm just going to start scrolling y'all across the bottom of the screen as we get started today. Now, let's go ahead and get this bad boy underway. So, I'm diving head first into this, and we're about to explore the wide world of investments into precious metals. Okay. So if you got questions, make sure that you ask them. And if you've got questions that are off topic, if I can answer them right now today, I will. And if I can't answer them right now today, then I will definitely let you know and segue a show for that particular answer. But Mr. Satellite, round 22. I knew you were going to show up. Special shout out to Mr. Satellite. He's in here. He's in here. Let's find out which investment opportunity is going to come out on top today. The world of investments is filled with opportunities, and two of the most popular ones are precious metals and cryptocurrency, as it stands right now. Both have their followings, and for good reason. They've both been known to generate wealth, and people are drawn to them like bees to honey. But the question remains, which one is better? Now, we've done our fair share of discussions about cryptocurrency. And you guys know the ins and outs of it if you've watched my show. And if you haven't, you should go back and dig into quite a few of those episodes because they are still accessible on the channel. Mr. Satellite says, bro, got the whole country on top. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got everybody's country scrolling across. If you guys look at the top of the screen, I got a special shout out to all the countries around the world that's been showing us support. I greatly appreciate y'all as I find y'all because I go through the data. And if I see a country that's doing a large quantity of following, I'm going to give a special thanks to y'all so that y'all know that I see y'all up there. I see y'all up there. I might not see each individual person up there, but I see y'all up there. And then I also have a different one. I'm gonna have to add your name to this list if it ain't up there yet, Satellite. A list of all the fans that come across the show every day. Because I really appreciate you guys for showing us support. Now, markets can be unpredictable, and both precious metals and cryptocurrency are known for their volatility. And one day they're shooting through the roof, and the next they're plummeting to new lows. It's a roller coaster ride that can be thrilling, but also terrifying. So, which one is more reliable for building wealth? Is it the stability of precious metals or the rapid growth of cryptocurrencies? Well, we've all seen headlines where gold hits high records or Bitcoin crashes to new lows, but what's really going on behind the scenes? Are these just temporary fluctuations, or is there something more fundamental at play? He says, "Hail US Eagles sound." As the eagle flies overhead. I was gonna wear the tie that got the duck hunt on it. I don't have a wild eagle tie. I actually don't even have an American flag tie. It's crazy. I should probably get one of those and do like a red, white, and blue suit one day. But I'm investing right now. I'm trying to increase wealth. So once I start getting 2/3 more than what I need, then I'll be able to say, I could take 10% of this and go and get me a suit. Truth is, the both markets are subject to a wide range of factors that can affect their performance. It's not just about supply and demand. It's about geopolitical, economic trends, and even social media sentiments. Because the things that pop up on social media can drastically shift the way people do business. Because when we see and hear 2, 3, 5 platforms that cross our For You page with certain information, where typically it's a bandwagon scenario where one person put it up there for the sake of getting views. Somebody's seen that and didn't do their research, and they reposted the same incorrect information. For example, you see on TikTok where one person will throw up that Donald Trump is doing away with women getting tax returns if the men pay for child support. That's not what happened. He did give the people who are paying child support the opportunity to claim their child support investments as a taxable deduction. So the same way the person in possession of the child claims the child as a dependent, the person that's funding the child, it can claim the child as a dependent. So he didn't do away with that. The other thing that some people are saying is that Donald Trump did away with the 50-50 split for marriages. He never did that. There are certain states that are 50-50 states, and there are certain states that are equitable states where you have to put in and show proof that you put in order for you to get out. And then there's common law marriage and other stuff like that also comes into play that has nothing to do with the things that Donald Trump is doing on a geopolitical scale, on a macro level. Trump is operating on a macro level, not a micro level. Kamala Harris was operating on a micro level, dealing with individual complaints like no hidden fees on the flight. Just don't touch nothing. If you don't touch nothing, you ain't got to pay for nothing extra. You paid for the seat. You didn't pay to eat nothing in the seat. If you ain't bring your own food, your ass gonna be starving on this 15-hour flight. Because if you eat something, you got to pay for it, and they will charge you for convenience. There are other rumors like when they made that false statement that everybody was going to be getting a stimulus check, like Doge says something about stimulus checks. They mentioned that it would be cool to do, but nobody's putting an executive order out for that. It's just a simple fact that if somebody says, crypto's tanking, and somebody else says that crypto's tanking, guess what'll happen? Somebody's going to start pulling out crypto before they start seeing their valuations depreciate. And when one person pulls out, it does start to tank. And if somebody else pulls out and somebody else pulls out and so forth, now you start seeing a rapid decline. When you see that rapid decline, certain individuals see that, get scared, and they just pull out. And that is when the market shifts. You also have scenarios where people are making comments on social media about other individuals. whether it be Fortune 500 companies or whatever the case may be, and the reputation of an individual that is affiliated with a company could cause shareholders and investors to take their money away from that company because they don't want their money to support a company that supports a person who has a bad image in their eyes. So social media can make or break a company the same way social media can make or break your own personal reputation, which is why I tell you guys to carry yourselves better online, carry yourselves more effectively online, because while you can say and do certain things for views online, your reputation in the streets is going to hold you to a higher level of accountability. Now, the uncertainty can be paralyzing, especially for new investors. Do you go with the tried and true approach of precious metals, or do you take a chance on the new kid on the block, cryptocurrency? It's a tough call and one that requires a deep understanding of both markets. Now, let's take a closer look at the historical performance of precious metals, because we've been talking about cryptocurrency for like the last 3 months. Gold, for example, has been a store of value for thousands of years. Its price has consistently increased over time, but it's not always been a smooth ride. There have been periods of stagnation and even decline. On the other hand, we have had cryptocurrency like Bitcoin experience meteoric rises, also devastating crashes. So which one is better? What we're going to do right now to identify publicly traded shares in precious metals, you guys come to me and I'm going to be able to tell you how investors can check the dividend payout ratios and share prices for mining, streaming, and royalty companies such as Newmount Corporation, NEM, Barrick Gold, GOLD, Franco Nevada, FNV, Pan American Silver, PAAS, Wheaton Precious Metals, WMP, Rio Tinto, RIO, and BPH Group, BPH, with Royal Gold, RGLD, as some of the ones that you can invest in stocks and shares of, where you could throw your money up there, microtransactions and other such, and be able to have percentages of the value of some of this stuff, or some of these precious metals. I told y'all, I got y'all a list. I was thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, I can put all the precious metals up there, put the prices of all the precious metals up there. And I'm like, you know what? Look, at exchange trade funds, the ETFs, you guys can check the dividend payout ratios and share prices for the ETFs, such as SPDR Gold Shares, GLD, and track gold bullion prices on that platform. You guys can go to iShares, Silver Trust, SLV, and track silver bullion prices. Van Eck, Vectors Gold Miners ETF. That is VANECK, Vectors Gold Miners ETF. That one's ticker is GDX, and they have baskets of gold mining stock. Now, you can also look into futures contracts and precious metals mutual funds, such as Fidelity Select Gold Portfolio, FSAGX, and Vanguard Precious Metals, and Mining Fund, VGPMX. Now, I just gave y'all a list of places that y'all could just go there and throw your money up, let your money do what it do, and then y'all can come back and let me know exactly how successful that you made it. because while it ain't make a $75,000 boost like crypto did this year, it is making a steady incline. Now, when investing in precious metal stocks, consider factors such as production costs, reserves, and the geopolitical risks, as well as the overall market conditions. Now, you want to make sure that diversification across different types of precious metals investments is utilized to help manage risk. Because even when I told you guys about the real estate investment trust, I gave you multiple real estate investment trusts. And then after I gave you multiple real estate investment trusts, I invested in the top 3. I actually found the top 5. And then out of the top 5, I weeded out 2 of them. And I said, you know what? If I drop them 2, I can run these 3, and they are going to work side by side with one another because their percentage rates were about the same. Their dividend distribution was about the same. And they were all up at the same time. Now, since I've grabbed them, some are up and some are down and they're fluctuating, but overall, all 3 of them, I'm still averaging the same amount or more. So the loss of one is the gain of another, where I'm still in the same ballpark of where I was when I first started. Now, that is just the value of the shares. So you'll say, oh, well, if you ain't made no improvement, you ain't did nothing. It hasn't even been 30 days, bro. I think I got like 5 days left, but dividend distributions are supposed to occur soon. And since dividend distributions are supposed to occur soon, I'll be able to say, well, off of the small quantity that I invested, how much cash dividends did I get on my first dividend distribution, which is pretty sweet. Because if you're still invested in the shares on the ex-dividend date, you got it. And what's wild is that if you invest in it on the ex-dividend date, pull out after the ex-dividend date, and then put it back in before the next ex-dividend date, you still end up getting the ex-dividend, the dividend distribution. You just got to be careful about that because you might miss the ex-dividend date playing games like that. And depending on what platform you're in, you have a cost of buying and selling that might also come out of your investment portfolio. So you got to look at that as well. Now, when considering precious metals for investments, there are several options to consider. And this is what we were talking about late last week, which precious metals to go into. And I was telling you guys that Dubai was investing in platinum. And I was like, man, we might need to start talking about that. But first one on the list is gold. Gold is often seen as a safe haven asset and can be purchased as physical bullion coins or through ETFs. They're used in jewelry, electronics, and as store of value. So it's something that if you put your money into it, it will always be there for you for the most part. The current price now is $2,173.30 per ounce as of March 18th, 2025. Now, the 5-year change is approximately from March of 2020 to March of 2025. There has been an increase of roughly 50 to 60%. Where gold was trading around $1,450 an ounce in March of 2020 and is now around $2,173 an ounce. The 10-year change from March of 2015 to March 2025 is an increase of roughly 70 to 80%, where gold was trading around $1,200 an ounce in March of 2025 and is now around 2173. So you're looking at what, a $973, almost $1,000 increase per ounce in the value of gold. So if you had 1,000 ounces of gold, you'd be pretty rich right now, but your money would have almost doubled in 10 years time. Now, half-life rules in science that we learn for those of us who go to college is there's a formula that you utilize where the time it takes for your investment to effectively double. Meaning, if you put up $100, based on the interest rates and the distribution of compound interest, how long will it take for your $100 to be $200? Basically that. In this scenario, you went from $1,200 to $2,173, which is like $27 shy of $2,200, which is a $1,000 increase. You are short $1,300 of doubling your money in under 15 years. Where it is possible over the next 5 years that extra $300 could occur, where you would have effectively be at $2,400 something for the value of gold 15 years from March of 2025, where you would have doubled your money inside of 15 years, which is typically a half-life, a statistical average, which means that it is doing a fantastic job with maintaining increase on its value. It just depends that even during the weeks and months when the value of gold drops, instead of being scared of the drop, you buy into the drop, because when it goes back up, it is going to be higher than what it was when you paid for it. Now, the only time it's a problem is when you sell it while the market is down. And the only time you're selling it while the market is down, outside of for the tax credits that you get from that, or not credits, but deductions that you get from that, the fact that you would have a desperate need to get rid of the money, to get rid of the gold, to gain money, that would be the only reason why you would sell while the market is down, unless you're just doing it because you're unknowledgeable. So if you know what you're doing and you're not desperate, you're probably not going to sell while the market is down. So you shouldn't be panicking that the market is down. You should be excited, like, oh, market's down, I should dump a bunch of money into this right now. That should be if you got it. That way, when the market goes back up, you're good. Silver is the second one on the list. More volatile than gold, but potentially higher returns. Silver is used in industrial applications, solar panels, and as an investment. Now, the currency price for silver is far less than the currency price for gold. Currency currently valued right now at $24.85 per ounce as of March 18th of 2025, which is a lot less than what we were talking about a month and a half ago, where it was about $35 a month and a half ago when we first started talking about gold, and now it is at $24. So you buy into it, you'd be seeing a pretty significant change. Now, the 5-year spin on this is that from March of 2020 to March of 2025, silver increased roughly 65 to 75%, where silver was trading around $14 an ounce in March of 2020 and is now around $24.85 an ounce in 2025, where silver has a higher volatility and can fluctuate greatly. You just got to catch it when it's down and don't get rid of it. Now, the 10-year change is about 30 to 40% from 2015 to 2025, which isn't nearly as much as gold, but silver was trading at $18 in 2015 and again is trading at $24, almost $25 at 2025. Now that's pretty decent. Some people would say that's not as good as gold, but for those of you who can't afford it, right? $24 an ounce, $24.85 an ounce. 100 ounces is $2,485. Now, 1 ounce of gold is $2,173. You're probably going to be sitting on more silver than gold until you can afford to buy gold. But as you do what you do, You can always take your stock options and sell them for whatever it is, or to use the dividends distributions and take the dividend distribution and divide it and buy some silver and some gold and just hold. Now, platinum is number 3. Now, we were talking about platinum last week because I mentioned Dubai. And platinum is more rare. It's excessively rare in comparison to gold and silver. It's used in automotive catalytic converters. I didn't know that. Now we know. It's also used in other industrial applications. It's used in jewelry as well. Now, the current price of platinum, weirdly enough, is $912.50 per ounce as of March of 2025. The 5-year change was a 10 to 20% change in platinum, where they was at $800 an ounce, and now they are $912 an ounce. Now, the performance has been weaker than gold and silver in comparison within the last 5 years. Now, 10-year stretch, the decrease of roughly 15 to 25%, where platinum was trading around $1,100 an ounce in March of 2015 and is now around $912 an ounce in 2025. So if you are trading back and forth between platinum and silver, or trading back and forth between platinum and gold, when gold and silver are up, platinum is down. So if you sell high on gold, buy low on platinum, then when platinum spikes and gold drops, you sell high on platinum and buy gold, and your money's always going to make money for you. There's always something to trade against. There's always something with cryptocurrency. The most popular one that I've heard of is Bitcoin and Ethereum, where they trade back and forth because they're inverse of one another with their performance fluctuations. There are a lot of other cryptocurrencies that have the same fluctuations, and if you know all of the cryptocurrencies that do fluctuations against one another, where you can buy at the time that a lower stock is being sold, you can buy high or buy low at the time that another stock is being sold high. You could say, well, I want to get rid of mine for this much so that I can get yours at this much, because you really want mine at this much. Yours is down here, and I'm willing to get rid of mine if you give me this much of yours, and we just do the trade. Then when mine increases in value, I can sell each one of mine to the one person who's doing it backwards, and they're trying to get rid of theirs when theirs is down here. I give you all this so that I can take as much of yours as you got. And those types of trades, again, capitalization is capitalizing off of the stupid. The stupid, the weak, and the elderly. That's how it works. Well, the stupid, the weak, and the poor. Because if you can't do nothing about it, if you ain't smart enough to do nothing about it, if you're too desperate to do anything about it, they're gonna make money off of you, bro. Palladium. I'm probably pronouncing that one wrong. Palladium. Palladium. Tongue twister there. It's primarily used in automotive catalytic converters as well. So I'm guessing they're using platinum and palladium in there. It has seen a significant price fluctuation in recent years, where the current price is $1,035 per ounce as of March 18, 2025. And 5-year change since 2020, they did have a decrease of 45 to 55% and was trading around 2,300 ounces, $2,300 per ounce in March of 2020, and they're now doing it at like $1,035. So they lost about $1,000 over the past 5 years. They had a massive run up and has since corrected significantly due to substituents and reduced demand. Their 10-year change, they've increased roughly 25 to 35%. So palladium was trading around $800, in March of 2015. And since they're at 1,035, if you would have been holding it at 2,300 5 years ago and you sold it for gold when gold wasn't on the rise, you would have been doing a good trade, because now that it's down, now it's time to sell gold and buy palladium and buy platinum. Now, copper, while not traditionally considered a precious metal, it has investment potential, essentially for infrastructure and technology development. Currently, for broke folks, copper is at $3.85 per pound as of March 18th, 2025. So for the and I know a lot of people that are trying to take they copper and all this, the metals and stuff that they find, and take it to the salvage yard and sell it, trying to make them some money. But it is $3.85 a pound. So you are gonna have to have 300 pounds or 100 pounds, which is heavy, to have $300 or $385 worth of copper. But copper has increased 80 to 90%, where it was $2 a pound in 2020, being $3.85 a pound now. And it has increased roughly 20 to 30% in the past 10 years, because copper was around $3 a pound in 2015, and now it's $3.85. So if you're going to be throwing your money down on copper, you can buy the copper and palladium, traded it with the silver. Then you can sell those to buy gold and platinum. And as they fluctuate, you dive in, make your money, make money for you. Now, one of the things I've heard some of the multimillionaires and potential billionaires state is that they build up a certain quantity of wealth, and then they take that wealth and go buy gold and platinum coins and billions, bars. Now, I want you guys to know that investors can access these metals through physical ownership, such as those coins, billiards, and bars. There are several reputable dealers and institutions legally selling pure physical coins or bars of precious metals for physical ownership. Now, you have in the government mints section, you have the U.S. Mint, Royal Canadian Mint, Paris Mint for Australia, Royal Mint in United Kingdom, just to name a few. And depending on which government mint you want to get your capital from, you're going to have to also, depending on where you're located at, because from the U.S., wherever you're buying it from, if you're not going there to pick it up, they're going to have to ship it to you. So you're paying for it, and then you're also paying for the cost of shipping. And that increases the investment quantity for the same weight of physical item. It does give you the ability to say, oh yeah, I got X, Y, and Z coin or bar. But I mean, to have a brick shipped to your house, they ain't sending that bad boy USPS, I tell you that much. Because that brick won't make it to you. And I asked myself, well, why did they do that? Well, one of the reasons why they do that is because if you have physical possession of your gold, silver, platinum, palladium, or whatever, as the share price of it increases in value, nobody has a record of how much of it you own, unless you decide to report it, put it on insurance, other such. I have not seen any laws in any countries that require you to report precious minerals in your possession. But if you do not have legal documentation supporting your ownership of precious minerals, if those precious minerals get removed from your possession, nobody's going to be able to recover them for you, as well as you're not going to be able to be reimbursed for the theft. So going off the grid, going off the books, it would be one of those situations where you don't tell your girlfriend, you don't tell your kids, you don't tell anybody that you've got a safe in the house, or a safe in the garage, or a safe underground somewhere that holds any type of precious metals. Because if you are storing it where it is less secure, because it is off the books, it is more highly probable of being looted. And the people who are going to be the ones that want to take it are going to be the ones who need money and know that your precious metals are accessible and lightly, if not completely, unguarded. So while it is a good idea to do that, and then on top of that, like, I don't even know how you're going to travel with, say $10,000 worth of gold bricks. Like, and the FBI gonna rob you. They gonna rob you. They gonna rob you. They gonna catch you. They gonna catch you right there at TSA, and they gonna bring you into a dark room like First 48, and all your assets will be quote unquote missing. If you don't insure it, which costs you money, where if it gets stolen, you get millions of dollars off of it. I can't find the value in, outside of being able to say I got it and show off the fact that I got it. Outside of that, there isn't a personal value to having it in your physical possession. But I know that there is a wise choice as to why billionaires keep their precious metals, some of their precious metals, in an accessible safe somewhere in their house. There are major precious metal dealers like APMEX, American Precious Metals Exchange, JM Billion, Kitco, KITCO, SD Bullion. These are places where you could just go and grab you some precious metal dealers, and they're going to turn a profit off of it, so they're going to sell it for more than its stock value, so that they can get their cut out of having it and getting rid of it. And you can also go to some major banks who offer precious metals products to their customers. You can find some coin shops, such as local coin and precious metal dealers, to ensure that they are licensed. Is one of the first things that you got to do, because when you go to some of the mom and pop shops, they might give you some real gold. That might be some blood money, though. Yeah, depending on where it came from, who sold it to them. Now, you also can take advantage of fintech technology and get on some of those online marketplaces where reputable online platforms specializing in precious metals can take good care of you in that sense. Now, when purchasing physical precious metals, you want to consider factors such as the dealer's reputation and accreditation, because you want to make sure that the stuff that you're buying is pure precious metals and not stolen. Your product's authenticity, and purity is also equally as important as its legal ownership. You want to take into consideration storage and insurance options, premiums over spot prices. Remember, I just finished telling you, they're going to charge you more than what it's worth. So you got to make sure that what they're asking for is reasonable, because they're going to charge you more than what it's worth. The gold that's being sold at $2,100 an ounce, these people might charge $2,500 an ounce to sell it to you. It's got to be worth it. Or you have to find value in the deal, even if it's not worth it. Buyback policies. If you're buying gold in chunks from gold distributors, you have to have some type of buyback policy for that gold, meaning that some kind of way they're going to give you back some of or all of your money if you bring back the gold. It's going to be based off of weight. So if your gold erodes or your silver or your platinum erodes over time, you're going to be dealing with a whole different quantity of your money disappearing right before your eyes. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to what you're doing with that. Special shout out to Cody D popping in. Only eat with silver spoonery people. Why do you say that? Why do you say only eat with silver spoonery? It, and then again, what other metals are spoons being made out of? And then if you're buying, now that I think about it, because silver's got a pretty good value right now. If you got a bunch of pure silver, not that sterling silver, gold or plated, whatever, like real silver utensils, you could take your silverware and bring it somewhere and cash it in and make you some money. But yeah, there's that. So you can definitely dive in and sell it back to where you got it from and get you some of your money back, if not more money back, if the value of it has gone up. So, but you got to check your buyback policies. Always verify the dealer's credentials and check for customer reviews before making a purchase. And when you're checking customer reviews, and you should check customer reviews, everything is peer reviewed these days, and you should always check customer reviews before you utilize anything sold online, anything that has a review source that should be sold. You should always go and check the reviews. And when you check the reviews, you want to check the complaints. You want to check the 1 stars. You want to check the 3 stars. That's what you want to check. You want to check the people that were that, because you have 2 types of people that are going to respond. The people that were highly satisfied by it, or the people that were highly dissatisfied by it. The people that were highly satisfied by it's got nothing negative to say. You don't really want to look into those. Why? Because it's easy for one person to say that it's awesome. But if it sucks, it could suck, and a lot of people not complain. They just won't go back. But if it sucks that bad, where you're talking about terrible experience, those people are going to invest time to tell everyone how bad the situation was. When you are in a nightmare of an experience, that is a 1 star. That's what you want to see. The worst case scenario. You don't give a shit about the best case scenarios, that I go here, I make a bunch of money, I get exactly what I look for, I'm highly satisfied. You don't give a shit about that. That is expected. What's not expected is the 1 stars. So you want to go and see what the 1 stars got to say. If there are no 1 stars, if there are no 2 stars, no 3 stars that are talking about something other than, they might have a bad attitude, but they the product is good, or the customer service sucked, but the product was good, stuff like that. You want to see that. If that's good, then you go ahead and do business with them. But it's like, oh yeah, I bought X, Y, and Z, it didn't work, and then after it didn't work, I had to pay extra to fix it and all that. Nah, I don't want to do business with that guy. You understand? Cody said, shouldn't be here. Got to do my artworks. Sorry, bro. You're going to be here regardless. You can do your artwork and put your phone on speakerphone and sit it off to the corner and do your artwork while you're listening to the podcast. You got no excuses when it comes there. He said 2 different customers. Yeah, there's 2 different kinds of customers. 2 different kinds of customers. You got the positive ones and the negative ones. We need 5 stars. You are definitely right. We need 5 stars. But if you're going to talk to somebody that's got a 4 star, you want to go see why they got a 4 star. You want to go see why they got a 3 star. And if they got a 3 star, why are they still in business if they got a 3 star or a 2 star? Right? You want to go see that. Then you want to be able to make sure that if you're going to do business with them, that something has changed recently, where they might have had a bad review from a bad employee way back in the day, but they got fired, and that person doesn't work there anymore. So now you're not going to have to experience that. You want to do your research. You want to do your bro, with the way AI technology is right now, you can do a in-depth research background check on the company that you're about to do business with before you do business with the company. You can look up litigations. You can look up any type of public catastrophes that was reported to the news or social media. Because now every day when things go south these days, almost everybody's got a cell phone. Almost everybody's out there recording. Almost everybody's out there voicing their constitutional right to record the piss poor attitude that everybody else has in this country. So, because if nobody had a bad attitude, nobody would have a reason to record anybody else mistreating somebody different. But that's the way we got it right now. So it's crazy. But if we can't get that 5-star, like I said, you want to do your research and make sure that they're legit. Now, it's important to note that precious metal prices can be volatile and should be considered as part of a diversified investment portfolio. And that's one of the reasons why those millionaires and billionaires tell the tale that after they reach a certain quantity of dividend distribution, they take a percentage or take that percentage and invest that in gold or silver or platinum or whatever. So if you're making 300,000-400,000 a year in dividend distributions, and you take 100,000 a year of that and go and buy gold bricks, go and buy gold bars, go and buy this and go and buy that you're going to hold on to and store so that when prices go up, you're good to go. That's a way to do it. I can't say it's the way to do it. It is a way to do it, because you do got to understand that some of it will depreciate over time. You have erosion, not just erosion, you have oxidation that occurs, all of this other stuff. So if you thinking about storing it, you got to take all that stuff into consideration. And I'm about to go into other considerations about you holding on to your precious metals instead of just holding on to the stock value of your precious metals. Now, make sure that you consult with a financial advisor to determine the best investment strategy for your individual circumstances. And when it comes to storing and insurance options for physical precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and copper, there are several approaches to consider. The cost of storage and insurance options for physical precious metals can vary widely depending on the method chosen and the value of the metals being stored. So some of the storing options are what a lot of people deal with is storage at home. One of the biggest pros of this one is that it is immediate access to the resource and there are no fees. The cons to storing it at your house is the security risks and limited insurance options. The cost of storing it at the house is generally free, but may require investment in a high quality safe. Now, insurance typically covers under insurance typically covered under homeowners or renters insurance, but often with low limits unless specifically endorsed. Now you have banks with safety deposit boxes. The pros of this is that it's relatively secure. Till you see some of those Casino Royale movies where they're hitting the safety deposit box and robbing them blind. It's reasonably affordable because safety deposit boxes are very cheap. The cons are that you have limited access to them and may not be insured against theft, because if you're going to insure it, you would probably have to insure it with the bank before you insure it with a third party. Now, costs of that, you have an annual fee that ranges between $20 and $200 depending on the size of the box and the location of the bank. Now, not all insurances are typically going to be providing coverage for the bank, and separate insurance may be necessary if the bank isn't going to be providing you with the coverage. And the next one up would be a private vault. And it depends on where the vault is, because you can build a private vault at your house, which could be highly expensive. Or you can rent or lease a private vault. Now, the pros of a private vault is that you've got high security and it's often secured. It's often insured. The cons of that is the fees and potential geographic limitations, because depending on what country you're in, depends on what you can do with a vault and how much you can put in there. The cost of vaults, annual fees, can range from 0.5% to 2% of the metal's value. So while we were looking at between 20 and 80% increases, we would have lost between 1 and 2% of the value of our metals in the fees of storing our metals. Some people might consider that throwing your money away, which is one of the reasons why they probably keep their gold in the safe at their house. Now, often insurances include in storage fees, but limits and terms vary, where they're going to store a certain quantity of the gold, which means that the rest of it you got to put somewhere else if you've got that much. But for those of us that are just starting out and we don't have 84 tons of gold to transport anywhere, we are, in fact, not required to do all that. You could very well just buy yourself a safe off of Temu. You could buy yourself a wall safe. You could buy a safe that requires to be mounted, where you could install it in the wall in your house. I recommend installing it in the floor. Why? Because if you install it in the floor, cover it with some type of secret panel door that is reasonably hideable by day-to-day operations, nobody who's not searching the whole room would recognize that there's a trap door in the house. And if something happens where the house were to catch on fire, it will burn to the ground and the safe is in the ground. So it'll be under the rubble. It's a way to think. Now, if you're living in one of those states that floods, you might not want to do that. You might want to put your thing in the attic or something like that. If you live in a state with tornadoes, you might want to do like I said and put it in the floor. But the average thief is going to pay attention to your blueprints for redevelopment of your house. So if you do a professional redevelopment job where you're paying somebody to cut a hole in your floorboard and drill a hole through the ground, anybody who's going over blueprints like, oh, hey, this is an addition to the house, they're going to think that's got to be a safe. So we're going to go to the house and go to that location and see what is in that hole, or that hole in the wall. They restructured the house and changed that. These are things that when people rob other people, they only rob them because they know they got it. So no rich person has ever been robbed by somebody who didn't know that they had something worth stealing. And most poor people get robbed by somebody that they thought they could trust because they were bragging and boasting about the stuff that they had, whether it was their dime bag of weed, their little bag of meth, whatever it was that they was dealing with. They was bragging and boasting to their homie, showing the inventory that they held in their possession. And the homie seen that and was like, oh, bet. And then when they turned their back, cleaned out the safe. And because you can't report it, you just got to take the L. Now, precious metal depositories are another place that you can put your money. Now, there are pros to that. It is purpose-built security, and it often is insured, which can be allocated or segregated. Now, that actually is pretty good. Now, the cons of that is the fees. because there's physical separation from your assets, which is equivalent to you just having the monetary value of the shares as opposed to having the physical access with the lack of physical access. The annual fees are typically in the same range as getting a vault, between 0.5% to 1.5% of the value of the metal. And the insurance usually included in storage fees with high coverage limits, which means that they're going to be able to take on a larger quantity of precious metals. Now, some other insurance options are homeowners or renters insurance, which may offer limited coverage for precious metals stored at the house and often has low limits unless specifically endorsed, which can add $100 to $500 annually to your premium. And that loss it's doable, but it's you'd have to charge it off as a cost of doing business, which means you've got to have a very successful portfolio to be able to utilize dividend distribution to pay the cost of the insurance for the precious metals that you're storing, instead of having the monetary share value of precious metals. There's a separate valuable items policy, which can provide more comprehensive coverage for precious metals, often has higher limits and a broader protection plan, with premiums often ranging from 1% to 2% of the insured value annually. So whatever you claim the value is, they're going to charge you about 2% of the value. Now, the amount they're going to give you is going to be based off of the value of your stuff. Now, you can do depository insurances, where many professional storage facilities often built in insurance companies. So your depositories are like a storage unit where you're going to bring your precious metals there, hand it to those people, and the fees that you're paying will include the cost of insurance. The coverage limits and terms are going to vary with these places, so carefully review as necessary. Now, third-party insurance specialize in insurers that offer policies specifically for certain types of precious metals. They can be tailored to individual needs, but may be more expensive. For example, you might be able to find one that will offer you a return on your product higher than the perceived value of the quantity of product that they have in their possession. Like having an antique car that is probably valued at $60,000 based off of how much money you put into it. And then you have $1 million insurance policy on it, where if somebody crashes it, you'll get $1 million off of them totaling out your car. If you have a contingency like that, you're probably going to be paying higher premiums for the coverage. But if you're paying those types of premiums for the coverage, you're looking forward to somebody robbing you, because you're going to get more money back in cash than what they took out of your safe. You're like, go ahead. Let me do one of those Cribs episodes and show you which room in the house the safe is in, so that when the shit comes up missing, I can get paid. Now, these specialized policies can cost between 0.5% to 1.5% of the metal's annual value. And when you're choosing storage and insurance options, you want to consider factors such as the total value of the metal that is stored as holdings, the type of metal, because gold typically costs more to insure than silver, the desired accessibility, and analyzing your storage location as well as the security measures that are at that facility. You want to pay attention to the insurance coverage limits and deductibles, because most policies require you to pay them a fee before they give you the monetary value. So if you've got $1 million insurance policy and they're going to charge you a $250,000 deductible for your $500,000 worth of resources, you're only making a $750,000 return on your deductible, which ironically is only $250,000 more than the value of what you're putting in. And if what they took was $500,000 and you got to pay $250,000 for them to give you $750,000, your ass just broke even. Yeah, I did that math for you right there. Now, risk tolerance is always going to be a thing. Your risk tolerance with investments, your risk tolerance with holdings, your risk tolerance with savings, your risk tolerance in relationships, and the risk tolerance is the ability to accept loss without it negatively impacting your lifestyle or your standard of living. That is your risk tolerance. If you can do without it, you've got a high tolerance. If you can't live without it, you've got a low tolerance, and everything in between. Now, the cost of storage and insurance premiums is always going to be a concern. And you also have to remember tax implications, because some options may require reporting the possession that you have to the IRS. A lot of the reasons why millionaires and billionaires are getting large quantities of bricks and coins and storing it at their place of residence or one of the properties that they own is because once you convert it to a precious metal, it doesn't exist anymore. As long as it's a stock, it exists. It's a transaction that is tracked. As the profits increase, reportings occur. Once you start getting bricks of something, whatever it is, it doesn't exist. From the day that you purchase it, it doesn't exist. So the only thing that proves its existence is the documentations that you have that you own this much of that. So it's important to compare options and get quotes from multiple providers, as costs can vary significantly. Additionally, consider the trade-off between security and accessibility when choosing a storage method. If you possess a very small amount of precious metals, especially if you're using a storage method that has a minimum fixed cost, for example, a single gold coin or a few silver bars, a deposit box, even a small one, could add up to be more than the value of the holdings. This is likely the most common scenario. If you buy precious metals at high price and the market price subsequently declines significantly while your storage and insurance costs remain constant, the proportion of storage and insurance relative to the material's worth becomes much higher. Example, you buy $5,000 worth of palladium, the price then collapses and your palladium is now worth $1,000. You're paying $100 per year in storage fees. After 10 years, you've paid $1,000 in storage, equaling the value of the palladium that you possess. So is it worth holding on to the especially depending on the fees and services, is it worth holding on to the physical copy of it versus maintaining it in your stock portfolio? You can choose high price storage options, and you might feel safer choosing premiums or specialized storage, such as allocated storage in a high security vault with personalized service, a climate controlled storage, though this is less relevant for most precious minerals than for things like fine art, a concierge service for managing your metals. If the fees for these specialized storage options are high enough, they could also quickly outpace the growth of the metal's value. Although not probably a big issue, an unpredicted collapse in the price of a specific precious metal combined with standard insurance and storage costs could lead to this situation happening. So while you're looking at the precious metals that you're collecting going on the rise, and then you're investing all of this extra money on holding it somewhere, the money that you're spending to protect the physical possession of it exceeds the annual value of the item. That's when you start taking a financial loss. Um, but again, the difference between getting taxed on it being in a stock option versus paying for storage of the physical possession, it might be cheaper to hold it than hold it and not talk about it than it is to report it and be taxed on it. Also, if it's registered and owned under a business that is registered and owned under an LLC, and you work all those details out, potentially the storage cost could be part of the operation cost, which means that the storage cost could potentially write off on your taxes, depending on how they work the situation out. But you got to talk to a CPA or a licensed tax agent to give you legal implications on that. And that's why we have Joe Mastrano if you ever want any information about taxes, because April 15th is right around the corner. And right when TikTok gets shut down, everybody's going to start getting penalties on their tax returns. So if you haven't filed yet, you better. Storing the metals at home in a high crime area without appropriate security measures like a quality safe or alarm system will significantly increase the insurance's premiums. Over time, those high premiums could approach or exceed the metal's value. If you store metals for a very long time, such as decades, without reviewing your costs, the accumulated storage and interest fees could eventually surpass the metal's value, especially if the metal's price doesn't appreciate over time. Holding a large amount of base metals is not valuable to begin with. However, the cost to hold such a large, heavy amount of base metals will add up quickly as it takes up valuable square footage in any given location. It's essential to periodically review your storage and insurance arrangements to ensure they remain cost effective compared to the value of your holdings. Consider selling some or all of your holdings if storage and insurance costs become disproportionately high. Carefully evaluate storage options and insurance quotes to strike a balance between security and affordability. One of the key benefits of precious metals is their tangibility. You can hold them in your hand and they're not subject to the whims of governments or corporations, but they can be costly to store and their growth can be slow. Cryptocurrencies, on the other hand, are highly volatile, but they also offer the potential for rapid growth. So there's also more accessibility with anyone able to buy and sell them online. But there are risks associated with both options. Precious metals can be counterfeit, and their value can be affected by changes in supply and demand. Cryptocurrencies, on the other hand, are vulnerable to hacking and Ponzi schemes. So, how do you navigate these risks and come out on top? Well, here's the thing: the debate between precious metals and cryptocurrency isn't just about which one is better, it's about understanding what you're trying to achieve. And you looking for stability and security, or are you looking to take a chance, being willing to risk for rapid growth? The truth is that both options have their strengths and weaknesses, and it's up to you to decide which one aligns with your investment goals. In the end, it's not about precious metals versus cryptocurrency, it's about understanding the investment landscape and making an informed decision. Me, I would have all of them. Special shout out to Bayside. Bayside dove in. Good evening, Xander. Just tapped in and taking notes. Great topic. Hey, Z had asked me, I think it was Thursday, about precious metals, and he also asked me about brokerages. So next week we're going to be talking about brokerages. This way we're talking about precious metals. We're talking about where to go and what to do and how to invest in them so that we can try to make money for us. We've already talked about cryptocurrency to an extended length, and we've talked about other types of investments like ETFs and stocks and bonds and cash stocks and dividend distributing funds and everything to that effect. The only thing we haven't really talked about is how do you get your hands on a offshore non-residential trust that is not accessible by the United States government. That's like the only thing we haven't talked about yet. Well, it's not the only thing. That's just one of the things that we haven't talked about that we know we need to talk about. But we definitely try to talk about all of the different things that we can go ahead and tap ourselves into. So you could have he said he just opened a Charles Schwab account. I've got a stash account. I would look into Charles Schwab. There's a lot of different platforms that you guys can get into. I went down a list of them earlier today where you can invest in other branches of precious metals with fintech rapidly growing. And then I also gave you guys a list of places where you can go and buy yourselves your own. Those of us that just want to be able to have like a few hundred or a couple $1,000s worth of gold, silver, or other precious metals and a little rinky-dink safe in the house, probably it's going to be some of those individuals that just want to have some to show off to some of the people that they know, to have like a safe with like 3 or 4 gold bricks in it, and 2 or 3 bags of gold coins and maybe a small bag of diamonds, so that they can feel like they got something. With like, think for example, the poor people, and I'm going to say it like this, the poor people that you see on social media where they have stacks of cash and they're holding it on their head like a cell phone. Like, remember the long big cell phone with the huge antenna on it, and instead of them having like a stack of paper, they have a stack of paper and they're holding it against their head like it's a cell phone, like they're listening to their money talk. I don't understand why they do that stupidity, but that's the type of person that, yeah, brick phone, exactly. And that's the type of person that would potentially take that brick and go and buy themselves a gold bar or a few gold bars or a couple bags of gold coins and maybe a few like small bag of diamonds or some shit like that, and then have a few stacks of ones in their safe. Because they ain't gonna have that much money. If you out there with 100 grand pressed against your skull, your ass gonna be broke by the end of the month. You ain't gonna have that much cash. Because why do you got all that money on your person when it should be somewhere turning over dollars and cents for you so that your ass ain't gotta work no more? That's my question. But that's what people do. So you'll find that type of mentality might be the type of mentality that'll say, oh yeah, I'll go invest in physical possession of precious metals. Now, the millionaires and billionaires that are making the smart move to hold on to some of their precious metals in physical accessibility is because they have 90% of their wealth in low risk, or 80% of their wealth in low risk, 10% of their wealth in moderate risk, and 10% of their wealth in high risk. And with the high risk, you've got the volatility of gold and cryptocurrency, and then they take some of that out and put it somewhere because they're making too much money, so they don't want to get taxed on all of this money, so they take it out and turn it into something tangible so that they no longer have to claim accessibility to it, which the cost of not being taxed offsets the expense of storage. That's when it makes sense. If you're about to be taxed $10,000 on the quantity of precious metals that you possess, then it makes perfect sense for you to spend $1,000 a year to store it. Just saying, because then nobody knows that you got it. And you ain't got to pay the $10,000 a year to get taxed on its possession. Special shout out to KJ. KJ's back again. KJ says, what happened to San Menendez gold bars? Can he keep them in prison to barter with? No. Typically, individuals that go to jail lose everything. If their assets were not involved in the crime, then their assets will be essentially frozen. Not necessarily like actually the government puts a freeze on it. It's just not going to go anywhere, because should nobody know that it exists, so nobody's going to mess with it. And if his assets are in a place where he's not being charged a fee for it to be there, it will stay there until he comes back to get it. Now, if there's a fee for his assets to be there and nobody pays that fee because he's in jail, the fee will build up until the account gets charged off. And when the account gets charged off, whatever is in the possession of the account holder, or the account provider is a better say, they keep that as collateral to the debt. If the family has access to it, they're probably going to spend the shit. So when he get out, ain't nothing going to be there. But no, the police are not going to allow you to take a furlough from jail to go to the bank and get some money and bring it back to jail. If you ain't got no family members that's a power of attorney over your estate where they can go and get money on your behalf and put it on your books, you ain't got nothing until you get out. That's why people who do big crimes do they 10, 15-year stretch, go back, and one of the first things they do when they get out of jail is connect with the person they did the heist with, because they want to get their cut. I did my stretch. Now you got to pay me my share of what we did back in the day. You asked me, am I familiar with the case? How much more detail do I need to have about the case? Because again, if his assets are not part of the crime, if his assets are part of the crime, it is gone. It is evidence in the case. He is not getting it back. If his assets are not part of the crime, then it is still there unless it is moved by somebody else who knows that it's there. And since he's in jail, if they've got access to his assets, they can take it. He won't know about it until he gets out. Even if he could contest it, it happened so long ago that he's not going to get it back. That's how that works. So, will he be in prison with his gold bars? No, he will not. His gold bars will be outside of prison. He will be inside of prison. And whoever knows where his gold bars are can take his gold bars before he gets out of prison. The first thing he's going to do is look for his gold bars. When he can't find his gold bars, he's going to look for the person that's got his gold bars. And then he might be back in prison once he finds out what happened to his gold bars. So, is it a good thing to have it in person? Probably not. Unless you have large quantities of it to the magnitude where it makes sense to save money on the cost of the share value and offset that expense to the cost of storage. So which one will make you rich? The answer is it depends. It depends on your goals, your risk tolerance, and your willingness to do the research. This was fun. This was a very fun topic to cover. I wasn't expecting to, well, I was expecting to do a lot of this, but I wasn't expecting to find what I found about this. And I'm actually pretty excited to see where my investment journey is going to take me, because I never considered having tangible accessibility to gold and silver. But I have said on a number of occasions that it is highly important for everyone to have a different type of emergency fund than just having a bunch of money in the bank. You need to have accessibility to currency that is accepted in your country in a scenario where your country does not have power. I'm going to say this again. You need to have a currency that is equivalent to your country so that in the event you don't have power, that you can still buy goods and services in some capacity. Now, when governments collapse, like the rise and fall of the zombie apocalypse, and currency means nothing anymore, then it's not going to mean anything. But as long as we have some type of structuralized society, it is important for us to make sure that we hold ourselves to the ability to have some kind of accessible cash, primarily at the house, so that if the power goes out, you can go in the safe, go put gas in the car, go buy groceries, re-up on your groceries. You gotta have emergency funds. KJ says Sen Martinez D was convicted of influence peddling. He had a slew of gold bars hidden in his bedroom closet, just living there, or just jiving you. Oh, I was about to say, well, if your boy had a bunch of gold bars hidden in his bedroom closet, and KJ, you found out about it because they talked about it on the news. If Mr. Martinez or Mr. Menendez did in fact have that before he went to jail, whoever reported it to the reporter took that fucking money. That money gone. That money's gone. If he was hiding it at his house, they done stole it. If it wasn't taken as evidence, it's stolen. Because if nobody knew that he had money in the house, nobody would be talking about it on social media. And if ain't nobody talking about it on social media, you wouldn't know about it. If he's in jail, he can't protect it. And if it's not protected, it's gone. Because you saying it's in the bedroom. How you going to find it in the bedroom? Tear the house down. Once you finish tearing the house down, you found the gold. When you find the gold, that gold is gone. By the time that man get out, that gold is going to be spent. Or at least passed around something. You know, it's not the same as leaving your engine running while you're going into the gas station to go buy yourself some chips. You know what I'm saying? Your car might still be there when you come back out. But when you go to prison and you leave gold bricks in the house, nah, son, that's gone. When the Twin Towers got destroyed, all that stuff that was recorded in them buildings, all that stuff came up missing. Can't nobody prove it's theirs. It's gone. That's how it worked. So I strongly encourage you guys to take a look at it. Like I said, they're gonna steal, they're gonna rob them. So what you're telling me is that the FBI stole a man's gold. You're gonna call it seized. I'm gonna call it what it is. The FBI went over there and stole the man's money. The same way, if you go on an airport with $10,001, the FBI will steal your money. You're gonna call it seized. If somebody takes something from you without your permission, they stole it. Okay, that's the definition of stealing. If it wasn't part of a crime where it is considered evidence that you committed a crime, if it was yours legitimately and they're taking it from you, they stole it. But police officers, FBI, CIA, under the color of law, will break into your house, break into your car, rob you, kidnap you, calling it seizing your stuff and detaining you. So it is what it is. He's going to say dangerous talk. No, that's that's a First Amendment right to tell you the truth. That ain't dangerous talk. Dangerous talk is making threats. I'm not making threats. I'm calling it like it is. You have a constitutional right to not be searched or have anything of yours seized unless you have committed a crime where the stuff that they're taking is part of the crime. If it wasn't part of the crime, regardless of what you did, your stuff is not supposed to disappear. They will break into your house. They will break into your car. They will take your stuff. That is called breaking and entering, trespassing, and theft. They will take you. That is called kidnapping, when they're taking you against your will for whatever reason other than you did a legitimate crime. They do this under the color of law, and they utilize the ability to get away with it because of immunity laws. And the people who don't have the knowledge to or the skill set to represent themselves, they can't afford a lawyer. And that's the reason why law enforcement gets away with this. That's the reason why the boys in blue get away with this. It's not because we deserve to get treated this way. It is because we don't have the knowledge to protect ourselves. With Donald Trump putting out that capital murder sentence for taking the life of a law enforcement officer. If you are in a situation where law enforcement is threatening your life, you have to survive the shooting in order to get a self-defense case. If you have to take the life of a police officer where they're trying to kill you at a traffic stop because your seatbelt wasn't on. That's the truth. You're going to say, enjoy it. See you tomorrow. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. But you asked the question. I'm telling you how it is. On this and that, we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And that's the way it is. That's just how it is. You have to survive it. So with that, even though we have constitutional laws that dictate that law enforcement agents of every branch, only when they're in line with their job duties, have immunity. And when they're acting outside of their line of duty, which is a lot of these videos that y'all see on social media, they are not protected by immunity. And there are laws that dictate that when you are being attacked and or threatened by a law enforcement agent, that you can defend yourself. You're not supposed to, though, but you can. There's a law that says that you can defend yourself. The problem is that there's another law that says if you do defend yourself, that you will be punished for defending yourself. But likewise, you have to show reasonably that there was absolutely no other way for you to go about doing that in order for you to get self-defense. So first you have to survive it, go to jail for it, and then beat the case. Safest thing to do is to let them beat your ass, rob you, and then sue them for it. Because if you fight back, you're going to jail. If you try to stop them, you're going to jail. So if you're going to jail either way, you might as well let them put you in jail where you didn't resist, you didn't fight back, and you can prove that this was unreasonable, and then you sue them for a few $1 million. But you got to go through a little bit of injustice in order to get compensated for the injustice. You're still not going to get justice. You still got treated like shit unnecessarily. And this is everybody. This isn't just because you're black or because you're a woman. This is everybody in the country. That's what we got to deal with. Okay. So when we start talking about like seizing, all right, seizing, when you wrote seized, you put it in quotations because even you knew that they robbed that man. It hands down. It wasn't a situation where even you felt like, oh, that was drug money or that was fraud money. Oh, that was evidence that he stole that money from somebody else. They had every right to take that. You said, quote unquote, seized right here, y'all. You see that, quote unquote, seized? Because when you put the quotations on it, you're implying they stole his money, but they're going to call it a seizure. The same way when they take your car, they stole your car, but they're going to call it repossession. All right. When the FBI kick you out of your house, they stole your house, they're going to call it seizure. When the IRS seize all of they robbing you of all your stuff because we built a country where taxation, we fought the British because we said taxation was unjustified, was unconstitutional. And after we wrote a constitution that said taxation was unconstitutional, then we got preconditioned to believe that we are obligated to pay taxes in a country that says taxation is unconstitutional. So if taxation is unconstitutional, then why can I be put in jail for tax evasion? If it's unconstitutional to tax me, it shouldn't be against the law for me not to pay taxes. Think about it now. So if you run off with all my stuff because I didn't give you the money that I worked for after I paid the taxes that I should have paid every time I bought something, you're taxing me on the money that I made, and then you're taxing me on the money that I spent. So you're double taxing me. That makes no sense. But if I don't let you double tax me, you'll put me in jail for evading taxes. Now, if you build up enough trust and you put your money in enough places and you got offshore everything, they don't know where your money's at. They can only tax you if somebody tell them that you got money to be taxed on. If don't nobody tell them that you got money to be taxed on, they can't tax you. And that's how we got on this conversation, because truth is that if you got it physically on your person, the only person that know that you got it is the person you bought it from and the person you showed after that. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to the show. I want to make sure that y'all like and subscribe. Make sure that y'all join the membership. And don't forget to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Are you team precious metals or are you team crypto? Let me know. And if you're new here, again, y'all need to recognize that we're live 7 nights a week, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the nighttime. For those of you that are on the eastern side of the world, where we are knocking it back at 4 a.m. Green Minutes Time and 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time, we are live every night of the week. We got a different topic 7 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're talking about business and finance and politics. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're talking about self-improvement, first-person accountability, social improvement, and relationship improvement. Sundays, our members-only shows is currently open to the public, where we deal with questions and comments from the fans, where we cover all sorts of topics. As long as it's appropriate, we cover just about anything, STEM topics and all. So make sure that you take it upon yourself to tiptoe back over here and see what we got going on this and that when we be talking about this, that, and everything in between. Special shout out to Red Void on my way out. Red Void, Omni81, Liberty Twitcher, Mr. Pibbs. I really appreciate you guys. Silly Emma, Max Opposer, Reese Martinez, Usman. I really appreciate you guys. Satellite, special shout out to Satellite V2. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. We're about 72% of men. Ladies are starting to build up. I really appreciate you ladies for coming to learn something from the perspective of a man. But as long as the situation doesn't make sense, ladies, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, again, I really appreciate you guys for showing us the support. Keep doing that. Make sure that you shut up with the people that you know can use the information that we got going on, or people that you think that might argue against it, because we're open to all favors, all discussions. Long as it's appropriate, we take all comers. One more time, I want to thank you guys for coming to the show. My name is Andrew, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.
Higher ground! Used to chase validation, now I validate My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision.